What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the Nines. You have to start it the same way. Thank you for tuning in. Leicester City have just lost 2-0 to Slavia Prague. Who would have seen it coming? Well, kind of us after that performance, but we're with Alex and Rich as well. So thank you both for joining. Rich, as the guest, where do you start with that one? What are your thoughts of the game?
No one was above a 6 for me, if that. I think a 6 would have been strong for anyone. It was an overall thoroughly disappointing, just hugely disappointing. I think the selection, the team were good enough to beat Slavia, and they didn't. So it was just a thoroughly disappointing performance, and I think no one's to blame but the players.
Yeah, I totally agree. Alex, over to you. Similar thoughts or anything else to add? Because it was just a bit meh all around, wasn't it?
Lackluster, depressing, just downright boring. Didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve it at all. Prague came in as the hungry underdog in a sense, and we just kind of cowered and let them take it.
Yeah. Do you know what? I thought exactly the same thing. I thought this is probably how other teams felt when Leicester played in 15-16. Kind of their team wasn't good enough. We came in and stole, and again, Slavia fans, if you're watching, you rightfully won that game, 100%, hands down. You were the better team, and we just have to admit that. But I think I was saying at halftime to you guys that this was just rubbish. And I was very angry. I was like, okay, we should be doing better. You should be doing better. Then the first goal went, and I went, I've made peace with it a little bit, because there was just I don't want to say that we were slating the players too much, but something I've just put right at the end is remember how we were feeling at the beginning of the season and what positions we thought the club would be in, what we're actually in now, and I don't want to bring it right back there but at the same time it's like we are still doing quite well. This match was terrible, but was it a bit naive, Rich, to think that we could compete on 3 fronts today? Because essentially we did for the you look at the injuries we've got at the moment. For Farnham, okay, sure, but you look at the likes of Maddison, Pratt, and Perez as well. We're doing well, but we're building for the future, and in this result, it kind of showed our lack of squad depth, even though it's the strongest squad we've had in quite some time.
I mean, there's 2 points to your statement there, Neil. I think, first of all, I'd like to point out that I think we've also kind of got another injury, kind of in a way that Vardy is just not himself, and he hasn't been for so long now. I've been saying it for a long time, and I'm like, but no one dares say anything. It's like, obviously the jokes about if anyone else has an incident, then it's, oh my God, they're terrible, get rid of them. If Vardy does something wrong, it's oh, bless you, it's okay. It's just, unfortunately, he's not been playing well for several months, and so that's kind of like we're almost playing without Vardy, which is again another thing. However, I wouldn't say that we're naive to be competing on all 3 fronts. I think that we have the squad, we have the players to do it. However, the fatigue is obviously starting to play a massive part. Tielemans looked absolutely horrendous today. He looked dead on his feet. All the players were. The passing today was absolute primary school level. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe how bad some of the passes were. It was like an old school Pro Evolution soccer game where they just kick it out, and you're like. And I always remember my dad used to say, "This is ridiculous. A Premier League footballer would never do that." And I'm like, "Well, you obviously haven't watched that game." So. And this is the sort of thing that, I don't think that we were naive. However, I do think that fatigue was a huge factor today. However, we win at the weekend. I think we all just go, okay, fair enough. We're still in the top 4 and we can still get Champions League next team. So we'll see. But yeah, I think we could have still done it.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with your sentiment. That's why I'm not here kind of crying my eyes out.
Yeah.
Compared to, for example, the Aston Villa game in the semi-final, which was like, we had it, we were there, we could have won, we could have been through to the final. This feels very different. And I think I was annoyed first half, Alex, but because there was just so many opportunities for the team just to go, right, this is your chance to prove yourself. Let's get through to the final 16. And it didn't happen, but I don't know. Is there any points you want to take away without getting to? Because I don't want to. Again, as Rich said, we weren't good. We were terrible, to be honest. But do we kind of have to take a step back and realize the position we're in?
You know what? And I think Rich said it perfectly. Everyone looked exhausted, and part of me hates to use that as an excuse. And I was talking with me and Neil were talking just before we started recording, and I said, but everyone's tired at this part of the season. Arsenal is, played just, this weekend just as well. And they played today and they managed to pull off an incredible win, in my opinion. And, it's Arsenal we're talking about, so when you're looking at that, you can say, well, everyone's tired, but at this point of the season, everyone's tired. You can use the factor about, well, we have injuries, but every team has injuries right now. I think I think there was we could have easily won, and I still believe that, but we didn't show up. And I've said it before, and I even tweeted it today. Leicester City were defeated prior to kickoff in the first leg against Slavia Prague. Between the two legs of this contest between the two teams, Slavia Prague wanted it. They were more hungry. They were more motivated. They were more driven. Leicester City just didn't have it at all for the whole, both 90 minutes of both games. They just didn't have it. And it was clear and it was present. And, the warning signs were there. And we all were there keeping our hope up, oh, they're coming back to the King Power, we got this. But, it was just another example that, we're motivated, we're driven to really capitalize when they could have easily done that. Moving forward with that, we're still in the FA Cup. So you look at that and you look at, we're still in the top 4 of the Prem. So you look at that, you look at those two and you go, okay, we're not juggling 3 things now, we're juggling 2 things. It's more sustainable. So I think you look at this now and you go, okay, we can move forward with this. Let's really focus in on these 2 and see what we can do. And if the FA Cup turns out that, we don't move forward, we go from there. We really focus in on the Premier League. And, at this point, I think our biggest challenge within the Premier League will be if we don't get top 4 at this point, that we lost it. We failed on our own there. And I think that will be the highlight and the big talking point of the season at the end of the year is where we finish in the Prem.
Yeah, and it's just like last season in that aspect as well. Again, just with the amount of injuries and things that were happening. And just to bring it back to a point that was in the beginning of the game that I think they mentioned on the commentary, but I just thought it was a good point to highlight. They had Slavia Prague had a free kick in Leicester's half. And from there, they went straight back to the keeper. And you were going, what? Why have you done that? And again, part of you thinks that's a stupid move. But they had a tactic. They had a tactic and it worked. And the goals they scored, for example, were 2 very good goals, in my opinion. Not world-class goals or anything, but they worked the ball well. The first goal, it came across. I went to the back of the net. I was like, we weren't defending it. That's their point. And again, in the second goal, nobody was getting close. So at the end of the day, they deserved to win. And there was opportunities for people to shine today. I tweeted out before the match very naively that I thought Chowdhury, especially after the performance he had in the first half against the 50 minutes he had as like cameo in the first game, compared to this game, he just looked completely different. And you can't even use the excuse that he was tired because he's not played. So there's just something going on in this squad at the moment, and it is a loss. But I think if we dial it back to the beginning of the season, we just have to look at it like that. And again, the best thing I think in my opinion now is to try and go and get the best result against Arsenal, because put this behind us. Cool, we dropped out of the Europa League. It's a shame. We move on, because I don't know. I want to talk about the match, but at the same time, I don't want to get bogged down by it almost. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather concentrate on the good things, because some of the good things that came out of this, I'd say players like Luke Thomas got some experience that he would not get in the Premier League. Rich, just your thoughts on him, and is there any other player that you thought as well in this Europa League has really upped their levels?
I think he's played really well. I think he's had some. He's obviously gained some really good experience, especially working alongside Soyuncu and Evans, and having that willing runner in Harvey Barnes ahead of him. I don't think, again, like I said, I still don't think he played that great. But to be honest with you, no one's really impressed, especially over these last couple of legs. I don't, like you summed it up really well there, Neil. And I think there is a point that I think needs to be made as well. Whenever Leicester win in the Premier League against a big team, let's say Liverpool, the other day, it was all about how Liverpool didn't play very well. Mm-hmm. And what we can't do is that now to say, oh, well, it's because Leicester didn't play very well. Yes, we didn't play very well, but I tell you what, Slavia defended like their lives absolutely depended on it. So, I challenge any team to score against 11 men. It's seriously difficult. And so at the end of the day, yes, we can look at it and go, oh, we didn't score and we didn't do this. Yeah, no, absolutely. You know what? We could have done better and we should have done better. We are capable of much better. However, this isn't like last season where we just dropped off the face of the planet and lost. We beat Liverpool 3-1. The last time that happened, we lost 4-0, was it? I can't remember. As in, the last season. And
it felt like more than 4, though.
Yeah, it felt like 20-0. We got destroyed by them, and then obviously we just kept losing and losing. We have not. This hasn't happened. We've not capitulated. We're not going to capitulate this season, in my opinion. I think we are going to get top 4. And I think, especially with the smaller amount of games that there are left, I think we're going to be, comfortably in the top 4, to be honest. So I think we need to take it as a separate thing. Yes, it's been bad. We've been bad over these last 2 legs, but we've not played with full strength squads. We've not played with fully fit squads. They've been, let's be honest, they've all been knackered. And I think that Slavia played brilliantly. They did absolutely fantastic. They knew that all they needed is that 1 goal. And then all of a sudden we needed 2. And then they got a second one with a great strike and that was it. So hats off to Slavia. Absolutely. I still think they're a bunch of cheating idiots with their diving around screaming like Tyson's on the pitch, punching them all. But other than that, look, they deserve the win and we can't really say anything else.
Yeah, I think we and Alex talked about that last time, how half of them would look like they got shot by machine guns when they went down. But yeah, just over to you, because I don't want to dwell again. Slavia Prague came with a tactic and it worked 100%. You could argue that yes, Leicester played into their hands, but that's not in Slavia's control. The control is in our hands to play the game we need to play. And today, again, we were talking about they went back from a free kick, went back to the goalkeeper, and then started passing it around the back. You think, what are they doing? And they win the game 2-0. Again, Alex, I think we just have to give them coincidence, give them props, because better team won at the end of the day.
It's clear. It's simple. It's the simplest explanation. At the end of the day, the better team won. The better team won out of both legs. That's it. There's really nothing else that you really need to say at this point, because that's the truth and that's the fact. You could look at stats, you could try to break down anything and everything, but at the end of the day, the score is the only thing that matters. Slavia 2, Leicester 0. That's it. Slavia moves on, we don't. It's and I think what Rich said is. Another thing that Rich said was really important. We move on and we focus on the game against Arsenal this weekend. And I think that's huge, because if we go into this game with this, with this mindset of being like, well, we just got kicked out of the Europa, like that's it, because that like these types of games can be taxing to just to the mentality and how people and how players play. So if they go into this game being like, we've already lost against, Slavia, do we really stand a chance against Arsenal? I think as much as everyone says, we're not the team of last year, and I'm very much in agreement with that, I think this game on, this weekend is so important, because if we come out and we deliver a star-studded performance, no worries. But if we come out flat, unmotivated, not hungry, that's where doubt starts creeping in. And that's dangerous. And, we saw it last year. We don't want to see it again this year.
Yeah, I guess I think you're right. But I think the team in general, there's a word that just kept cropping up for me, especially towards like 70 odd minutes. It was just relief. They're relieved to get out of the Europa League. They can't handle it. And it's because, again, even the substitution after we got the second goal, I was like, right, take Tielemans off. Take Tielemans off, give Leschabella a go, give Tavares a go. We'll get on Tavares in a bit. We didn't see too much of him, but you're looking at that and you're going, well, what's the point in playing him? Let's rest him and trying to save him for the proper games, you know? So, I don't know. We saw it again, a couple of performances. Tavares was his first time. I don't think we saw too much today, Rich, but what did you think of him?
He looked hungry. He looked like he wanted the ball. He looked like he was a willing runner and he was trying. He didn't do anything that set the world alight, and he looks like, you know, as we always say for the young people that get their first game, he looks like one for the future. So I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing more of him. I'm glad that it was obvious that Brendan was like, yeah, well, you know, we're not going to win this now. We might as well stick him on. And to be fair, get under off the pitch as quickly as possible. Let's not be spending a penny on buying him in the summer. We've given him plenty of chances now, in my opinion, and he's not cut out. He's far too selfish. He does some really good runs, but then I'm not a fan of him whatsoever. I was really excited when he came in, but yeah, Tavares, I would rather play Tavares than Under, put it that way. So. Yes,
I thought Tavares is more a guy that goes through the middle as well. So it's a slightly different position. Some people have said Under did look better going through the middle. However, there was a hunger at the beginning and again, he had a few opportunities one-on-one. You're like, right, you need to take a player on and get past him, just like Barnes has been doing. And he didn't quite perform to that level. But again, a lot of people have mentioned Under, and I don't want to, again, sink too much into that. But Ant's put a great comment. We've only got 1 game a week now. And with the amount of injuries we've got, with the fact that we're going to have to definitely change because Maddison's not in the team, and we haven't got a cam, essentially an out-and-out cam. With Tielemans, again, at times was playing way too deep. But I don't blame him because his natural position that he's been taught the especially this season, has been to play alongside Ndidi. Chowdhury came on, didn't do anything. So you're looking at it going, well, again, it just deserved to lose, and it's okay. But overall this season, overall over the campaign, I think that's just something that needs to be said. The fact that we've got 1 game a week now, Alex, and that surely goes in our favour, especially with the likes of Perez being out for so long, with people like Maddison being out for a while now, the likes of Dennis Pratt will be back in a couple of months' time. It will help gel the players together, and hopefully, because I can't remember the last time when we had 1 game a week. Literally, it's been full out ever since for about 3 months now. And I was saying on Lewis's podcast, we can't cope. We physically cannot cope unless we're going to play the entire under-23s in the Europa League. Because so to a certain extent, I am relieved that it is the case. What do you think?
There is relief, but you know we've been discussing this. You know, if we finish top 4, you know, we have Champions League. You know, we're talking about, you know, we want to play in the Champions League. We want to play against the best. You know, but we've been talking about, you know, oh, we're playing more than 1 game a week. You know, I think, you know, it's such a tough place because, like, right now, I'm very thankful that we're only playing one game a week because we're completely wrecked. You know, the players need rest, they need to recoup, and they need to recover. But if you look at it in like a wider lens, you know, we've always been preaching, you know, oh, we want Champions League, we want to play in Europe, you know, and when, you know, the opportunity arises this season where we play in the Europa, and, you know, it's like, oh, we're playing 2 games a week, we just can't do it. And it's like, so, you know, we're already talking about, oh, we can't do it. So, like, what's going to change when we play, if we manage to get top 4 and play in the Champions League? We're going to get...
The season won't be condensed so much, will it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's very true. You know,
we've had a hugely condensed season where everyone's getting injured because of the condensed season. I know what you're saying, but I think it would be a completely different prospect to get Champions League next year if it's the case. But no, I tell you, I think this season has just been such a strange season.
You know what? Yeah. Do you know what I think? And you know what? Like, I think we've all been we've been living in this quarantine for a year now.
Yeah,
So it's kind of weird. Like, you totally forget that. It's like, oh yeah, this is just condensed. This is not normal. So like in your mind after a few months, you're like, oh yeah, this is totally normal. And here I go, literally almost a year since the whole quarantine started. It's like, oh wait, no, this is not real life. This is not normal. So, okay, yeah, I see where you come from that. But you know what? I still do stand on that because, there is that concern, the season gets stretched out again. We get a couple extra days of rest. But, at the same time, you need the squad depth. So I think that's one of the big things that we need to focus on moving forward.
Yeah, and just develop that. Again, you've seen players like Luke Thomas come into the game, again, out of injury. And if we can get a couple more of these players, because you look at it, I think his first game was against Sheffield and he got an assist Sheffield United last season. We got a clean sheet and he came into the squad and he didn't really, and then he signed a long-term contract. Right. Maybe Tavares could be another person. Maybe in the summer we can bring in Dewsbury Hall and he could be another person that's really intercepting the team. We've got rid of a lot of deadwood in the squad. You look at the likes of Silva, Slimani, Gray, players that even to a certain extent, as much as I love Matty James, he's not quite at the level of what we need right now as well. We need to upgrade him to the next level. So again, it was a good run. We had a nice time, but I wouldn't worry too much about how things was happening because again, there's a lot of awesome comments and thank you so much for your comments. But I think a conversation has changed away from the match, just more to what we can do, because I think surely now, again, there should be we get more leeway in reaching the top four now. Everybody around that position, apart from West Ham, are still in the Europa League, or still in a European competition. So now this is our opportunity to go straight for that and knock that in. With the likes of a few people being out, that could be the case because, again, we weren't good enough. It was things seemed to change after the triple substitution of Barnes, Ricardo, and Castagna, which was, again, I put it out as that's a phenomenal triple substitution if ever you could make one. For just like that was fantastic. The match picked up another 5 minutes, but even then, it didn't seem like they were going to score. There was players out of position. And one thing I want to touch on, though, Sionchu got sent off against Bournemouth for basically kicking a guy and reinforcing him into the net, making him part of the net. He still hasn't lost that hot head, has he, Rich? And we thought this season, okay, he's got better. Then he makes an unnecessary I get it. Get off the pitch. I want to play. But you don't go up to a guy, push him, and then wonder why he goes, why you push me for? And then starts on him. That's a bit unnecessary.
The thing is, there's a large part of me that just goes, yes, go on. And actually, I was like, headbutt him. Get sent off, no one cares. But Diego, perfect point. The passion, that's exactly what I want to see from him. And to be fair, I didn't mind because I understand why. But by the same token, that he's wasting time. You go push him. What's he going to do? He's going to waste more time because he's going to come back to you and say, why are you pushing me? Which is even more time that he's on the pitch. Even if he'd have picked him up physically and taken him off the pitch, he'd have walked back onto the pitch to start on him, to waste time. So his tactic. What's pushing him going to do other than get you a yellow card? However, absolutely kick him in the, whatever. Just kick him in the shins or something, and it was interesting. But no, I take your point. It's not going to gain you anything, and it's just gaining him a yellow card. But by that point, the game was gone. There was no way we was going to score 3, and he was going to, so it was kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, and also if he would have got sent off, well, it wouldn't account towards anything towards the Premier League anyway. Interesting point from hearing as well. Do you think the result would have been different with fans? Because I don't think the fans would have put up with that performance, or would that be a cycle of just kind of like, oh, we're watching crappy Leicester again, and then that kind of turns on. The fans would have moaned and groaned a lot more. Alex,
I think I don't think it would have changed. I'm still very hard on the stance of they were exhausted and they just, and I don't like using that as the excuse, but I just don't think they had it in them. If you jam pack the King Power with fans and, just heard boos raining down on you, yeah, you might put in a little bit more of an effort, but like, what's the risk? Does that, is that the possibility of Tielemans putting in 120% while currently riding a 2% battery and, destroying both legs and face planting into the ground, or, Vardy being like, you know what, we're going to do this, and then tearing his groin, or like, re-injuring, getting another hernia, so in some way it's kind of a godsend, because I think, with the fans in the stadium, they would have been like, no, we got this. We're going to do it. There's nothing left, but we're going to do this. Where this time around, it's like, okay, it's 2-0. We can try. We're going to still give that 100%, but we don't really have much left, and we'll end the game.
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite performance to when we went out of the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. We threw everything at them. They defended for their life, and we both went, we couldn't win that. I'm just happy to be in this position, And there was a feeling in Leicester of we're going to win this. We're going to get into this game, and we're right in this. And so I can see your point. However, again, it's just to try and feature on this. Veto the 5th place in the Injury League Cup and try and get. Oh my God, I can't read. I'm just trying to read that. My brain's just showing off a little bit. It's a bit late at the moment, but overall, I think just at the moment, yeah. You think could have gotten a goal if the fans were there. I agree, but I think at the same time that wouldn't have been enough. We need to get 2 or 3, and if we did go through, I would just. We've had a very good season, and we've built on that. And the best thing for me is the fact that even though we've done terribly in the Europa League, we've managed to kick on to the next level, Rich, and take it and keep the Premier League dream alive. And I think the players are going to be a bit relieved at the moment, just because that's going to be a lot of pressure off them. And we've been performing amazingly, but it caught up to us today. And I think it was just a combination of everything. Even in the first leg, it was a combination of everything that just didn't allow us to play proper football. And maybe this is the right path for us.
Absolutely. And I think, Alex raised a really good point earlier. And obviously, I know that we sort of deconstructed it a little bit and said that obviously that it's because the season's condensed, etc. But imagine what's going to happen when we get Champions League, because we're in the top 4, which I'm staying by now is going to happen. So not only then are we going to, like you've just said there, bring back the likes of Dewsbury Hall and bring Tavares in, some of these players in. And by the way, you mentioned James. Rodgers really rates James. Like he really rates him. He said if he can get fit, he will be in my team. He's already said that he really rates him. But imagine we get Champions League, then suddenly we've got this brand new, amazing training facility, one of the best in the world. We're attracting players left, right, and centre then with Champions League football and that. And if we can continue on the path that we're doing, all of a sudden we've got a front 3 of Mbappe, Messi, and Ronaldo. You know what I mean? It's fine. But no, on a serious note, we're going to attract a lot more talent, and then we've got a better squad. We've got the likes of Prague coming back in, who is, I think, has been a huge miss to the squad.
Yes,
huge miss to the squad. So we've got all these players coming back. There's going to be less injuries because the season's going to be a more normal season. So less games in such a condensed. Then we've got more, but we'll hopefully have we've got to trust in the recruitment, because it's always been fantastic with the odd bad one, but name a club that hasn't had the odd bad one. And we've just got as again he's just said there, there's higher monetary things for getting in the Champions League. We're just going to attract a better quality and level of player. I just think it's going to be an absolute monumental season next season. And we've not even finished this season. So, yeah, I think it's a blessing in disguise that we're out. I'm gutted. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up feeling great. That's all I can think.
Yeah. And that's what I think. That's what a bit we should kind of leave on again. So somebody said there's no guarantee we'll get top 4, which is correct. However, we were in a good position, and it's about the priorities. We were trying to carry this team that was, and we were doing well, but it was kind of players were dropping off, and another player would drop off, and another player would drop off. And he's thinking, okay, we can still keep this together, and we still kept winning, but it was bound to catch up. And over the guise of over the kind of the both legs, Prague were a better team. B, this happens, and again, it all caught up with us, and thank God it didn't catch up within the Premier League. In my opinion, if you would have said to me, "Would you take an absolute capitulation in the Champions League?" As I wish next season, hopefully, in the Europa League or in the league, I would have said Premier League. I would have gone, yeah, take the Europa League. That's fine. The amount of legs that's going to do, and also traveling is a massive thing. If we got through, we got somewhere like, I don't know, Tel Aviv, Azerbaijan, Russia. That's a lot of traveling, especially let alone during a pandemic. So there's all these things that are kind of, the more you think about it, it's just get on with it. Even the FA Cup to a certain extent is what it is. Normally, I say injuries have been our kryptonite this season. I think it's been a case for everybody. However, this season especially, normally Leicester can keep players fit, Alex, but this season I just think with the amount of games, literally players' bodies have just given up, and that's happened all over the Premier League. But I think for us, and I think it's just good that we're out. And I know we're not talking about the game, and I'm just relieved that these players can finally put their feet up and go, right, have a couple of days rest, enjoy it. Just obviously not against Sunday, but then again, you've got one on Sunday, one on Wednesday, one on Sunday again. So again, 3 big Premier League games, but hopefully from this, the players can go, right, the pressure is off. Let's just play football how we want to play, because the pressure was building too much on the game. And I think, as I was saying earlier, the pressure got the better of them.
Yeah, and I think, you perfectly said it in the way of like, traveling in a non-pandemic world, that's a lot of travel to begin with, and then you're putting in travel through a pandemic. That's even bigger, and I think that benefits us moving forward when we focus in on the Premier League, because you could have teams like Liverpool, Man City, Manchester United. All these teams could be flying outside of the UK to play, so they have a higher risk of possibly having to quarantine, yada yada yada. Meanwhile, Leicester is just like, we're going to just chill here in the UK. We'll travel to the cities that we need to travel to play, and we're going to go home. We get to rest when we need to. We need to do what put Vardy in his cryotherapy chamber for 3 weeks at this point. Just let him heal and come out at the age of 25 again, because he needs it. But let them rest, let them heal. I think this is huge because we can really focus in and dial in back to the Premier League. That's big for us, because, and I think it was Ethan that said, we're not guaranteed top 4. So we go back to, we sit down, we establish, we go, okay, what do we want? Okay, we want to finish top 4. We want Champions League football. Okay, let's do it. We don't have to focus on anything else. Let's see what we can do with the FA Cup. We'll move forward. If it doesn't work out, then we really dial in. Because at the end of the day, if you ask me, if we got all the way to, say, the semis in the Europa League, and we finished 7th in the Prem, if someone went, oh man, you finished this in the semis and you finished 7th.
Yeah.
But imagine you finished 3rd in the Prem, and you got eliminated in the round of 32. What would you rather have? And I'd be like, well, I finished top 4 any day.
Just like I think the FA Cup, or where we faced Villa in the semi-finals and then we got knocked out. Exactly the same thing. But yes, again, Adonis. So I can't speak today. Antonionis again, from the Greek Foxes. Thank you so much for the comment, and sorry you've cut Rich's head off for such a great comment. But either way, it wasn't quite our day today. They were the better team. Congrats to them. Foxes never quit. We move on. Possibly 3-4-3 on Sunday. Madison's gap was obvious today. We totally agree. And in a 3-4-3, we can cover this. We can cover this gap. Lots of positives. We learned a lot and move on. And that's kind of what we've got a lot to play for. If we were in 13th position, we won't have anything to play for, but we have it. And so I appreciate the comments. I don't know, Antonius, but really, that's what it felt like today. And I think that's a good place to leave on, because we've got a very bright future ahead of us. And I've read a really good article about the Athletic as well, and how the peak of players starts at about 24. Now, a majority of our squad, you look at the likes of Suyuncu, Tillemans, Maddison, Barnes, Justin. A lot of these players are just, and Didi as well. Again, he seems a lot older than he is, are coming into their prime. And if they can keep together and we keep this squad together, and yes, this is a learning curve, just like it was against Aston Villa in the semi-finals, just like it was when we didn't get Champions League and we went into the Europa League. This is a setback, and that's okay, because we won't again, to this season so far, in my opinion, we've already won. The fact that we've been mentioning the fact of being a top 4 standing, that we've been overlooked, that we've competed on multiple fronts. We've had players like Justin, a massive injury for us, an absolutely huge injury that the media has just completely overlooked, by the way, completely overlooked. And we go, right, Justin's injured, and Luke Thomas has come in against Seema. Today he wasn't great, but in the first leg he was actually quite decent. And against Aston Villa, we mentioned it on the post-match, but again, if he keeps developing, 19, he's playing like that. Unbelievable. And the way he got his body in front of the ball, I think this is how we need to play. And this is the thing we should be grateful for, because it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be great football all the time. We're going to have ups and downs. And to be fair, I think we could all agree, just over to you a little bit, Rich. I've had a little bit of a rant before we finish, but it was more about, we've already won this season, in my opinion. We've been essentially, a lot of the Premier League has looked at us and gone, these guys are actually challenging. You look at the likes of Aston Villa, you look at the likes of Southampton, Everton, West Ham are kind of halfway there. We're the only team that really is remaining around that top 4 position, and that's something to really kind of show that we are doing something right, and it's not all doom and gloom as much as other people might think.
We're the only team that has stayed in the top 4 the whole season. Every other team has dropped out of it at some point. We haven't. And this is what makes me laugh is that, if you go on Twitter or whatever, even on this chat, it's been great. It's been really funny seeing some of the comments. You've got both sides. You've got people that are like, I take every point, and everyone's opinion is absolutely as worth as the next person's. Some people saying, top 4's not guaranteed. Come on, guys, we were terrible today. Or, I know that wasn't the whole comment. And then you've got some people saying, come on, it's not all doom and gloom. And I'm like, you've got the fans that are going, oh my God, this is it. This is where we're going. You've got fans that are saying good. You've got fans that are saying bad. I've seen some fans that are saying, if we can't make it in the Europa League, why are we even bothering excited for the Champions League? I'm like, are you kidding me? Right? It's going to be a completely different proposition next year when when we will do some great recruitment, and we will have a much better, much less games condensing. There's so much to look forward to, and there's so many things that we can look and be proud of. I saw an article, believe it or not, from Sky today saying that we're in the top 6. We are the top 6 club. Honest to God, nearly fell over. I just couldn't believe it. I've read it while I was standing up, which was an issue. So if you've all just heard this now, I apologise if you're standing up. But they did a report about us saying that we're in the top. We should be classed as the top 6 club now. Look, as you said it perfectly, Neil, we have won this season already. And anyone that thinks we're not going to be in the top 4, fair enough. Your opinion is absolutely valid, but you're wrong. We're going to finish in the top 4. I truly believe we're going to finish in the top 4, which is a huge achievement for a club like ours. So let's just keep it up. You know what? It wasn't our day today or last week. For some reason, we've not turned up either times. But guess what? The games before, we've turned up every time. So let's believe we're going to turn up on Sunday.
Yeah, perfect. Over to you, Alex. I can't really add anything to that, but any final thoughts about that?
Shake this game off. Keep moving forward. Take a step back, but you just keep on taking those steps forward. You take advantage of a tired Arsenal, because they went 100% out of the gate today. We rested players. Look to that as a positive. Play on Wednesday, play on Sunday, take a break, keep going, rinse, repeat. I'm feeling positive. I do. It was, I was a little upset at the end of the game, and I think after just kind of talking it out and listening to other people's opinions, you really realize, we have won. We have won this season, and I think both of you have said it perfectly. At the start of the season, if you told me we'd get to the round of 32, we'd still be in the FA Cup to this day, and we'd be fighting for a top 4 position, but we've never left the top 4 all season, I'd tell you you'd be off your rocker. And here we are. So absolutely going nuts because I'm very happy with the results.
Yeah, me too. And again, the comments have been insane today, as Rich was saying. A bit of everything. People complaining about transfers, people saying this is rubbish, people saying this is great, people are saying, and it's been brilliant. And so if we didn't get to your comments, thank you so much. But there was just so many to get through, and so many points, and so many amazing things, again, about everything under the sun, Leicester City. And it's exactly what I want to see. We don't want to see us three do have a similar position on a lot of things, and we want to hear the fact that you kind of go, that's not good enough, and that's fine. And you're again, as Richard said, you're totally allowed to have that opinion. But thank you so much for your comments. They've been insane today, and we really want to just say, move on to Arsenal. And we're going to hopefully have a really good performance against them. Again, hopefully I've got a preview lined up. I've been really busy with work recently. However, hopefully I'll have one on Saturday or Friday. Fingers crossed for that. But thanks, Rich, for joining. Thank you, Alex, for joining. And we'll see everybody in the next video. Maybe the preview, or maybe it'll be post-match. We'll have to see. We'll see you all then. Goodbye.